Welcome to the Innovation Services webinar. My name is Caroline Fleming and I am Head of Incubation at the University of Surrey in the United Kingdom. As part of my role, I am the Centre Director for our Set2 Surrey Incubator, and I also head up our student enterprise activities where we have a student incubator on campus, and I'm a Director of our Surrey 100 Angel Investment Network. So I come with experience of both running an incubator and managing networks. And so I'm going to use this knowledge and the knowledge of all our Set2 centres to just give you an oversight of what incubation is and what it means to join an incubator. So I hope you find this useful. So first of all, what is an incubator? Most people with an incubator think of eggs hatching into chicks or newborn babies being looked after. And actually that's quite appropriate because an incubator is a safe place to develop and grow. But obviously in this context, we're not talking about babies, we're talking about companies. So incubators really are environments that are set up specifically for startup companies to give them a supportive growth environment. And that means often a startup company has only a few employees, so it's good to be around other people, so you're not sat in a room on your own. They also are at that start where they need links to the right people in the network and business advisors. Often you don't have your own board yet, and so you need business advisors at hand who can be that third-party view on your company. So a lot of incubators are set up to give this view to you. So if you're a startup company, which I think quite a few of you are in the network, how do you make the decision of when you should use an incubator? Well, I think the first thing to consider is there is a point of being too early for an incubator. So particularly if you've just had an idea or you've just trying to spin your technology out of the university. If you don't yet have any seed funding at all to start your business, then it can be too early to join an incubator. Most incubators do have some funding available to fund a period of time to support accommodation. But most also have a charge, and so you do need to have some funding in order to be able to afford it. But more than that, really, the advice that you're given and the environment that you're in, you need to be able to have funding in order to actually act on this and make the most out of the environment you're in. So I would recommend that you have at least 6 months of funding to run the business before you decide to locate in an incubator. But there are other reasons why you might go there. So it's not just for companies who are just starting, it's also for those companies who've run for a while and maybe are taking on new team members. So it's now important to have somewhere where you can all meet together for the first time. It might be actually that you're really keen to co-locate with a research activity. And I think that might be particularly relevant to people in this program who are maybe linking into some new research networks that they haven't linked into before. And it's appropriate to co-locate with them even for a short time period. Incubators are perfect for this because they allow flexible desk and accommodation options close to research facilities, particularly those like the one that I run, which is actually belonging to the university. So we have really strong links back into the university, so it can really help you develop these networks. But also there are professional services companies that usually associate themselves with incubators. So if you're just getting to the time when you really want to formalise your business, so you want to take on legal advice, IP advice, financial advice, then an incubator can be a really good option for getting access to some free clinics by these kind of services to really help you understand who is the right type of service for you to engage with before you start spending too much money. So when I talk about an incubator, what do I mean? What's the typical facilities and services that you'd find within an incubator? Well, they do range greatly. And I think particularly within this project, we're talking all across Europe. So there's going to be lots of different interpretations of what an incubator is. But fundamentally, usually they will all offer you a desk, phone and internet connection. So they offer you the basic business services that you'd need to go in and do a day's work. Normally you take your own computer equipment with you and anything else that you need, but the basic business facilities are there for you to go in, dock in and do a day's work. Most then actually offer you the opportunity to rent the desk longer term, and therefore they would have more residential support facilities. So then we're talking about reception facilities. So that allows you to have a very professional approach to inviting visitors to come and visit you. So there would be meeting room hire and use. There would be people who are able to record your visitors. You'd be able to have your post directed there, and a formal phone line with maybe even a answering service. And then also, once you're in the location for longer term, there are likely to be events that are organised, like sort of lunchtime meetups and maybe evening hackathons and things that you can get involved in to become part of the community. A number of incubators, like the Set Squared Surrey one that I look after, actually centre themselves more around business support. So they provide the desk and reception facilities, but actually the heart of the incubation is actually all about the business support. So it's about recognising as an early stage company that you need that additional advice and that structured network around you. So you'll find things, for example, like mentors. Now, mentors are often professional business people who give their time for free to come and sit and meet with you. They might be angel investors, who therefore have a very good sort of spread and view of companies and are very interested in supporting companies. They might be people who are working in the industry and it's their way of keeping their eye on what the next innovations are that are coming up. And so they use networks like this in order to keep in touch with companies. You also actually get professional consultants who are doing this in their free time, again, in order to develop their skills, stay in touch with companies. And, you know, growing companies are an exciting environment to work in. And so a lot of people do just like the excitement of the ideas and the innovation that is within startup companies and want to be part of that. You usually get a choice of who your mentor is going to be, so no one will be forced upon you. A lot of business support is then directed around a dedicated business advisor, and I'll talk a bit more about this later in how we do this as Set Squared. And then also people will offer structured business review sessions and skills development courses, workshops. So once you're within that incubation environment, you'll get invited to lots of different activities that are happening within the network. And therefore you'll then get important network links that are created for you, both with other companies within the incubator. Often incubators are located on science parks, so it's also in research parks, it's often with other companies that are located within the same locale. And then, like I said, with research facilities and institutions like universities that are also in the local area. There's also, once there's a large pool of SMEs, there's also a really strong pull from corporates and other potential partners, customers, suppliers for yourselves as well. If you're part of the network, it's often easier to initiate those conversations and hold a joint event with others to communicate with people rather than having to try and sort of find a way in yourself. So if I just go into a little bit more detail about Set Squared Surrey, the incubator that we run at the University of Surrey. The essence of our incubator really focuses around our one-to-one business expert advisor. So you get a dedicated expert who the plan is that you meet on a monthly basis, and is your sort of third-party advisor to your company. So they don't tell you what to do, and they don't have any stake in your company, so you don't have to take their advice, but they're there to listen to the progress you're making each month, the decisions you're making, and provide a sort of wider view on it. So what their job is to do is to look at where other activities and services that surround the business advisor within the incubation environment could help you in the stage that you're currently going through. So in Set Squared Surrey, we have desks, so you can take an actual desk within the incubator. We have a network of over 26 mentors from the community, all with different areas of expertise that we can link you to. We also have links to our investment world, so our angel investment club, the S100 club, and through that we offer pitch training. So we have a real focus on people who want to raise investment, and helping to get their skills developed and their pitch practiced so that they are much more likely to raise investment when they go in front of angels. We have a very extensive network of professional services. We don't partner particularly with companies, so we like to offer sort of a variety of different lawyers, accountants, marketing company, website developers, career consultants. We've got HR advisors, recruitment consultants. We sort of make sure we've got at least 2 of any type, but in quite a few cases we've got 3 or 4. And we invite them to come in and do clinics where you can book a 3-hour slot to sit down with the advisor and cover off those early questions that can then really help you understand whether it's worth paying for a more in-depth piece of work from that company. And we offer more than one so that you can see more than one and make a good decision about who it is that you're going to then work with. We also ask some of our professional service people to run masterclasses where they do specific little topics on things. Like, for example, we had our legal team do a specific topic on the UK tax regime that is favourable to early stage companies. That means that angel investors, it's called SCIS, it means angel investors can get tax relief on their losses. And so we gave some advice to companies about the importance of getting the accreditation for this and the process that they go through. In addition, we have skills workshops which we run ourselves by our team. So our team of business expert advisors also run skills workshops which are focused on specific early stage skill areas. So we have workshops on customer value acquisition, we have them on sales skills, on team building, and we really try and focus on, what are the pitfalls that other SMEs have faced, how can we help you overcome them, how can you use proper business tools to help you plan out what you're going to do so that you aren't taken by surprise and haven't forgotten elements. And we are lucky in Surrey because we're linked to Surrey University Business School, and so we also are able to bring in elements of executive education into that as well, because there's MBAs run at the business school, and so we use some really good quality business tools alongside our practical business advice. We also hold a lot of networking events, as I was saying, and that is a really important focus in order to bring like-minded SMEs together and those around in the rest of the environment. And we also use these networking events also to link to the university. So we have particular professors in research and people within the university who are involved in supporting bid writing activity, for example. And we bring these sorts of people into the network as well to help facilitate joining SMEs together with those that they're looking for in order to form research project collaborations and gain expertise. So I hope that gives you a good oversight of what we do in Set Squared Surrey. Now, for those who don't know Set Squared is actually a network of 5 universities. So it's Bristol, Bath, Exeter, Southampton and Surrey University within the UK. And we've been recently rated the global #1 university incubator. And so we're very proud of our ability to provide very targeted and strong advice. And we have a network of over 300 SMEs. So we have a really strong network with a really strong pull. But the Set Squared incubator is not the only one within the network. So in Denmark, the Agro Business Park also hosts an incubator. Now here they're set up specifically for the agriculture, bioenergy and food processing, and so they're linked very strongly obviously with the network that is linked to INCluSilver. And here they actually offer free access to facilities for 3 months if you're working in that field, and they can help you set up your business and find your first clients within that field with fully furnished offices and facilities. And they also have lab spaces, so particularly if you're a company looking to need lab facilities, and there are lab facilities to rent there, and as well as the normal meeting rooms. So it's a really good environment to find all those early stage facilities that you require. In France, there's the Agropolis Science Park, and the Science Park again is set up focusing on the agriculture, food and environment. And if you are working in these fields, then there is very strong links that they can create to their other research facilities. So they have a strong network of activity all happening in the same place. And so there are offices to rent there, and I believe there are also some hot desk facilities that can be made available. And this, particularly being there for short periods of time while you're doing research with the companies that are in the region, can be of a real benefit to you in facilitating those relationships and that relationship building. Another one in our network is at the National University of Ireland in Galway, and this is linked into, again, the INCluSilver network with a really strong focus on bioscience. They have a range of incubation units available, and again, they have laboratories there as well, which have a real focus on all the sort of bio-wet lab facilities that you're more likely to need if you're working in the agri and food business. Again, they have a variety of serviced offices or short-term desk rental available, so there are a whole range of options available according to what your needs are and what stage of business that you're at. There is also funding packages which they have available to support collaborative projects, and they also have business support available, and again have connections, very strong connections into the university and links with the business centres there. So there are lots of opportunities to locate there and gain support from the network. So I've given you a variety of different incubators there and said that there's a whole range of different services that can be offered. So how do you go about selecting the right incubator? Well, I think one of the key things really is location. So is it going to be convenient? So particularly if you're at that stage where you're taking on new staff, you obviously would want to locate near where your staff are or near where yourself are if you're a dispersed team. So making the decision about where you're going to bring your team together can often be quite critical in your business. And rather than just looking at your own locations, what a business will often do is actually look at the rest of their supply chain and their key customers and partners and see where they are, and to make sure that you are easily accessible to them is often the most important thing in the early stage of a company. So a key question is it convenient for your key partners and the key parts of your supply chain where you are located? And then also, are there other people in the network that are similar to you and you actually want to network with? So with nearly all incubators, there will be a website where it will have a list of some of the clients that are already using the incubation space. So what I would recommend is that you look through that list and look up some of the companies and see if they're the same sort of company as you and the type of company that you'd want to network with and could benefit from engaging in. Now, it's highly unlikely that the whole list will be people who are relevant to you, but if there's one or two, then that's a really great start to know that it's the kind of environment that if it suits them, it'll suit you, and that it might actually end up with some either new clients or some new collaborators for you. So I definitely recommend looking at the website and searching their current client or residence list. The other thing I think it's important to think about is the working environment. There are quite a lot of incubators nowadays that are sort of set up to be a very creative environment. Now that works for some companies, but not for others. So you need to think about that yourself. And the only way you can really get a feel for this is by going and visiting them. The websites often will give you an idea, but a visit is the only way to really get a feel for the atmosphere. And I would say be careful not to get too taken by really funky looking facilities. You do need to see what's right for you. So for example, if it's a large open plan area, Do they also have plenty of free meeting rooms that you could go in when you need to take those private calls or do webinars and web chats where you need the quiet and the privacy? Do they have catering facilities if you're looking to stay there all day so that you don't have to worry about food and drink? Do they have a strong enough network connection? You know, there are still some incubators that, although they say they have Wi-Fi, they don't actually have a strong enough internet connection if you are looking to do some sort of heavy programming networking as part of your business connection. And also, it's important to get a feel for how other people use the space as well. If it's full of a lot of sort of young dynamic people who like to get up and play table tennis in the middle of the day, and you're someone who likes to really sit and concentrate, then it's not going to be a very good environment for yourself. So I would really recommend, getting a feel for the environment, thinking about the people who are in your team and you're going to recruit into your team, and then ensuring that there's a culture match. Now, also, the other thing that tends to be quite variable with incubators is the pricing model. There are a lot of funding models out there that will give you, like with the Danish one, and also Set Squared offers the same, a free period or a funded period through a funding program. But then there usually is a cost associated with desk rental and then ongoing support services. And so you do need to just have a look into what the pricing structure is. So some business parks might encourage you to go into a longer term lease. So if that's the case, then you need to be ready for that. So you need to be a company who knows that's where you're going to be located, that's going to be your registered address, and that you know you're going to grow your team such that you can fill and sustain that unit. Other incubators that allow you to hot desk might be perfect if actually you know you're mainly going to be maintaining your working from home flexible working, but you need somewhere to go, say, once a week for your team to all come together. Then it's perfect to have one that allows you that fully flexible hot desking environment, so you're not paying for a desk that you're not using. Equally, there are other incubators where the desk rate is kept low enough that you can actually rent a desk on a more permanent basis, and it doesn't matter if you only use it a couple of times a month, because it's a membership model that also brings you the business support when you need it, and that's more how Set Squared works. We run a membership model so that you get the desk and the business support. And so if you don't come in every day, you don't feel like you're wasting money paying for a desk that's not being utilised. And I think there's also the sort of notice period and then additional things that can be made available to you in that area, and whether you have to pay for those extras or whether they're part of the package. So, if money's tight, it's definitely worth investigating these in more detail. And then the other good thing to do is to investigate their business advisors. So again, hopefully most incubators, if they say they give business advice, they will declare who one or some of their business advisors or mentors are on the website, or if you contact them and go and visit them. So it's a good idea to look at their LinkedIn profile, for example, do a little bit of research on those business advisors, and just check that they're the kind of advisor who you think has enough experience of your kind of business and your kind of industry to really give you the support that you're looking for. So that little bit of research can go a long way. And then I think the final thing to really consider is there an opportunity to expand? So when you're a young startup company, some incubators will offer you the opportunity of taking one or a number of desks, and then on the same site they will then have office units that you can move into once you grow to 4+. That's certainly how we work in our Surrey Technology Centre, where our incubator is located. Once you acquire more than 3 desks, it's more cost effective to get your own unit where you can then easily house sort of 4 to 6 employees. And I think there are a number that are the same. And the benefits of that, obviously, is that you've already established your network in your local area, you've already got your registered business address, and none of those things need to change. You can grow where you are. So just be wary of choosing an incubator where there is only hot desking available and you don't have the ability to grow into a unit. Like I said, the majority of them are located on science parks, and so there is usually the opportunity to grow into another unit within the science park, which really allows you to sort of set your sights big. So when you're planning, where am I going to be? You can have that long-term plan of not just now, but also in the future. So I suppose just to recap, an incubator is a safe place to grow. It is a supportive environment for startup companies, and it is a flexible environment that should allow you lots of options for how you want to set up and grow your company. Lots of networking opportunities, and either if you're at the beginning of your early stage or you're now at a stage where you're ready to start engaging with larger scale clients and research institutions, it's also a perfect opportunity for you to take a short-term residence somewhere close to those key partners, close to those research institutes, while you're doing those key projects and collaborative pieces of work to really help cement the relationships that you're forming. Well, that was all I was going to say about incubation for now, and so I look forward to taking any questions later. Thank you.